Hello, it is Thursday, May 31st, 2012 at 14:43, that's 2:43 p.m. Central Standard Time. Well, it's Central Daylight Time now. Oh, I'm so bad at time. But anyway, I was checking out this storm we have going through here, the Midwest. On here in telecast, it doesn't look too bad. And while we're here, I wanted to point out this area of northwest Iowa because that's where I live. And you can kind of see that we've got some a circular thing going on here. That's at 15:05 Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm going to, oh, these time things are such a mess. Okay, let's move on. Here is the United States map in College of DuPage. And you can see that the storm is actually worse than it looks on Intellicast. And we actually have a system moving all the way along the Mississippi River here. And this is when I first got on the computer. I've been working at it about an hour here, just kind of checking things out. And one thing I noticed when I went and looked at Intellicast was, this is a screenshot I took at 14:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And you can see right here where this storm meets, kind of like, it's almost two lines, like a line going this way and a line going that way. It's 49 degrees, when everything around it's about 10 degrees warmer. And then coming down here by this earthquake that happened between, well, it looks like it's in North Carolina here on the western edge, you can see the temperature is 91, which is basically 10 degrees warmer than all the areas around it. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I'm suspecting that somehow this is a steering device or a positive negative charge of sorts. I'm sorry, I don't know how all that works, but it's just the two very large, 10-degree variations in close proximity, well, relative to the whole United States anyway. And so I was checking it out further, and I'm going to ramble around a little bit here. Zoomed in closer. I was looking for something in here because that's where the 91 degrees was. I didn't really see anything. And you can watch the storm progress here, but watch all the flashing going on. It seems like right after the flashing, after it flashes a couple times, the storms rise up, like this one here in Little Rock, Arkansas. See how it goes to red fairly quickly. The time is down here, so we're looking at about usually these are about a 2-hour loop. 18:30 starts at 15, yeah, 2.5 hour loop. So you can see that it rises up pretty fast. So here I centered in more on this upper storm. And you can see these are the two lines I was talking about right in here. And this is really strange here over Des Moines. It is kind of a, I don't know, it looked like a rib cage actually, a dinosaur rib cage or something. See that? That's not natural. I don't know what would cause that, but it's not a natural occurrence. And so then I went and looked at the clouds, and let me take off the color here a minute, no enhancement first. Last night I did a video for the first time in a while, and I was talking about this pulsing that goes on at a certain temperature. Here's the state of Iowa right here, and here's where that storm ends up on Intellicast. So I'm going to switch it over to, I think it's in the color enhance. Yeah, here you can see it right here. Let me slow it down just a little bit more. It's not doing it as it's up here, but it's doing it down here in Kansas, well, no, Missouri. Let me stop it and go step by step and show you first. We're losing our timestamp here, actually just barely visible. But it's in here between the turquoise color and the purple color. So right in this area, where that transition, that you can see a pulsing that goes on. And that's obviously the cooler area, well, the coolest that's showing, because otherwise we'd be down here in the greens. So it's between 215 and 220 Kelvin. Let me go ahead and let that play through. I just found this pulsing to be very interesting because I'm seeing it again and again, and you would think that the other colors would pulse the same, but it's a widening and a pushing out and a pulling back. between the frames is what's happening. So that's a pulsing of sorts. And I didn't know storms pulsed. So it's probably something else doing the pulsing. And then I went and checked over here. Let me get this started. By where the 90-degree area was, South Carolina here. And you can see all these chemtrails. That earthquake was right here in western North Carolina. And you can see, and that happened more like, I think it was like 9 UTC. And this loop starts at, about 9, so right about that. So right after that earthquake, they laid a bunch of chemtrails. Let me zoom in here. I'll kind of just go through by hand. So here's, well, yeah, so it's night when the earthquake happened. And right here you can see the chemtrails here. Clearly there's X's here going on. Now that earthquake looked like it was more about right here. So if I remember, I'll show you on IntelliCast. But I kind of get caught up on what I'm doing. I forget to go back to things, so I'm sorry about that. But you can see there's some pretty heavy chemtrailing going because there's some up in here even. And so then while I was checking all this out and trying to figure out what was going on, I noticed that things started to happen about where I'm located. There's a circular thing that shows up here, as well as Des Moines takes this spike or a hit right there. And I went and looked on the HAARP magnetometer. Well, this time up here is Eastern time, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I went and looked at the magnetometer, and lo and behold, about that time of the spike, you can see them showing up here. This is on the, we're looking at the 1 hour display. And you can go look at 3, 6, 12, 24, and I'll give you a link to the main one, and then you'll see a link to go look at the 1 hour, and that's where you can see these close-ups. So this was the east-west, and I can't tell you any more than that, but these are spikes that occurred while I'm looking at these videos. And so I went and looked at the radar, and here's that skeleton thing too. And you can see we just kind of have clouds going through. And this thing turned on. I think what it did is it went from precipitation mode into clear mode. That's not quite the right time, but what I did find when I was looking at the visible satellite is at 1902, we got one of those huge satellite ring spikes. And I call them not a spike, a frequency ring. It's a frequency that shows up on satellite images. I mean, they keep saying that it's just people that watch the videos, they just say, well, it's just a thing that happens on the satellite. But yeah, it is, but it's actually a frequency because there's a cause and effect that happens when they show up. And this is at 1902, so it doesn't quite line up with this, unless there's some kind of time delay, because here's 19, and here's to be 1902. So this one's at 1912, so 10 minutes later. And then another 10 minutes later, you get another one at 1920, let's see, about 22 and a half. Anyway, so you can see two of them right there. And I had this happen before. You'll see me, there's another video I did about a city council meeting I went to, and they had one of these happen right over me, which I'm located right here. So, it's really close to where I'm at. But the one during that meeting happened right over where I was. So I'll give you a link to that video too, so that you can see. So it looks like while I'm doing these videos, they're messing with me. Last night I couldn't get my buttons quit working as I was making my video, and I've had frequencies show up on video, which I'll show you the result of that. I'll give you a link to that video too if I can find it. So anyway, I'm going on and on. I'll let you go. God bless you, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.